Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, it's your host with the most, Griever, as always, bringing you guys the latest chapter review for Akatsuki no Yona, also known as Yona of the Dawn. Yona of the Dawn, chapter 240, entitled Refusal. Now, we have a few things to talk about in this chapter. There's some developments. There's some developments that we want to talk about in this chapter. Let's talk about the small shit first. In fact, let's just go in chronological order. I always pull up the chapter when I do a review anyways, so I'm just going to go through it to re-remind myself. I will apologize right out of the gate for this review being so many days late, but it was, of course, the big long Easter weekend, and after getting through the One Piece and the JJK stuff, quite literally, after one other drunken stream, that was about it. That was about it for me for the rest of the weekend. So, you know, and now we're back to the real world, you know. I hope you all enjoyed a great Easter. I hope you all had good food and good drink and everything in between. But now, let's just do this chronologically. Once again, the power scaling baffles me in a shoujo manga. The power scaling is plot convenience 101. And that's all we're going to talk about that, because another one of the stars, Yotaka, another one of the Zing stars, apparently also took down a Dromos and disguised himself as one of those Dromos. So yeah, the Dromos are supposed to be like top tier, stronger than Hawk people from half an arc ago, and now all of a sudden they are getting taken out by guys, powerful warriors, but people clearly weaker than Hawk in every way, shape, and form. So I don't know what they're playing at here. Either way, Yotaka meets up with Kija, who was left by Hawk, of course, because Hawk arrived at the last minute to be like, "Hello, princess. How you doing? Looking good. Nice dress." Right? Doing that kind of idea. And here we have Kija meeting up with Yotaka, and they have a bit of a conversation. And we get, you know what, this is actually nice, because though I wasn't confused, but similar to any type of war arc you will see in shoujo and shonen and seinen and anything like that, sometimes it's confusing. Okay, where is everybody in this camp? This camp feels so small because we're only seeing what the main characters are doing. How have they not heard this is happening here and that's going on over there? And where is everyone in relation? So this little meetup at the beginning of the chapter gives us an actual layout. They actually give us a map, and they're like, here's Chelgo's tent, here's the defeated guards, here's you know, where the infantry units is, here's where the main wall is, here's where everything is taking place. And the good thing about that is it puts everything in perspective, so we're not expecting A, B, C, D. You know what I mean? Like, it actually just reaffirms what people are assuming, because sometimes, and this happens a lot in all forms of manga, sometimes the mangaka forgets to sort of tell us. Sometimes it's implied shown, but if it's implied and only half the readers get it, it's a feeling of conjecture for the rest of the arc, rather than just straight out saying, okay, no, these characters, you think they're 5 feet away, but actually they're 105 feet away, you know, and that kind of idea, right? So it works out a little better by showing us this map. And that's basically the purpose of this scene. These two meet up. They talk about a summary of basically what the plan was, what's going on. That Vald and Algira are dressed up as, you know, Dromos, similar to Yotaka was. And it's Princess Yona's execution, blah, blah, blah. Basically catching Kija and us, the readers, up to speed on all the new developments, so we can go back to the present. Now, this is where Kija randomly has this crazy, not premonition, I'm not going to say, but like this feeling that it's dangerous if they go any further from here. So there are two lines of thought for this. Two lines of thought that I can see. Maybe there's a third option. Willing to listen to it down in the comment section down below, as always. I'm very open-minded to hear your guys' thoughts. But from what I understand, there's only two reasons for why it's dangerous if the dragons get any further from here. A, which I find more unlikely, is the idea that the dragon's power will weaken. Well, I shouldn't say that it's more unlikely. Let's just go over the reasons. Reason A is that if the dragons get away, their powers continually weaken, similar to how they're not close to Hiryu Castle sort of idea. The further they get away, the weaker their powers get sort of idea. Their constitution weakens, etc., etc. At first, I thought this was the unlikely option, because if it was so easy, Zeno would have walked out of Koka Kingdom's borders just to wither and die 1,000 years ago. However, Zeno might be once again the special case in the otherwise the rule of the dragons. So in this case, Kija might be referring to Zeno might get weak but not die, but this could drastically shorten the lifespan of his fellow dragons, jae-ha and shin-ha, right? We already know they have a short-lived lifespan. I hope, like the rest of the readers, I hope that this is remedied by curing the Crimson Dragon illness and curing the dragons. The dragon spirits leave these people and they live long lives. That is my hope as a I want a happy ending sort of reader, right? But shoujo has never necessarily, unlike shonen, shoujo has been a little more mature. Granted, girls mature faster than boys, so it makes sense that their demographic would have the sort of not everybody survives, not everything works out, it's not always the Prince Charming comes to save the day sort of fairy tale, right? So it's entirely possible that some of the dragons survive, but not all of them do, even if they do reach that end goal that myself and a lot of us want to happen. So that's option A, is that them getting further and further deeper into another country's territory is going to weaken their constitution to the point of actually shortening their lifespans, which is already limited, even further. Very, very dangerous, as Kija remarks. The other option is that it's a premonition. It's future sight. It's, you know, it's a prophecy. Not so much prophecy, but you get what I'm saying. Is that if they end up at the Phoenix Palace, it's going to be at Phoenix Castle, Phoenix Palace, whatever it's called. It's going to be the spark, the cataclysm that completely creates a chain of events that can't be stopped. It's going to be the butterfly effect. That it's going to start a chain of events that is going to end in so much death and destruction and all this stuff. And I want to lean more towards number A on this one, because I'm still very unhappy with the fact that Yona all of a sudden I can see the future sort of deal. I've never been very happy with that as an added bonus. It was more impressive that she's just Yona. It was far more impressive that she was just so, maybe blessed by the gods, whatever, maybe she is the reincarnation, yada yada yada. But the fact is that she's just a charismatic leader who draws people to her through her sheer force of goodness and will, was far more impressive than that kind of shit, right? So her having superpowers sort of, you know, ruined that for me, and I would hate to think that the dragons also possess that. Zeno being once again the exception, not the rule. Him saying, that's born, you know, our savior is born. When Yona was born, he recognized that King Hiryu had been reborn again. So something like that. But so I'm really hesitant to go on option B there. You understand? You see where I'm coming from with that? I still think it's viable. I just don't like it very much. But if there's a third option, I would be more than happy to hear it, guys. But yeah, so Kija all of a sudden thinking that the worst case scenario is going to happen. Very foreboding, foreshadowing, and very dark. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens there. Then we jump out and he seemingly gets over this very quickly. Val is still in his battle. Not really a whole lot to say about Val's battle here with his friend. I always forget his name. Hyo something. Anyways, he knocks out, Kija ends up knocking out while they've beaten each other up. He knocks out his friend and stuff like that and basically goes, yeah, well, did I interfere? Was this a battle to the death? And he goes, no, I appreciate it. At least this way, he didn't betray his country. He can't leave, because that was very much a rock and a hard place for our eye patch general. And he basically was like, all right. And Val was like, well, I really couldn't get out of the situation any other way, so I appreciate that. And then that was over. Here's where, okay. Next scene. We've got some good shit going down here because Chagol, who has been, once again, I am gonna go on a limb, and I'm gonna say that it's plot convenient as shit that this guy all of a sudden is some type of badass super Dromos, because apparently the Dromos aren't shit. They killed the only man that Hawk ever feared he couldn't defeat in battle one-on-one, but apparently those weren't the same Dromos, is what we're led to believe. I don't get it. But Chagol is apparently, no. Chagol's the leader of the Dromos. Goddamn, he is the Dromos. He's this Superman, you know, of an emperor. He doesn't sit behind a throne and just dilly-dally all day. Nah, this man is Hawk level. This man is superior Hawk level. They're hyping him up. And this man's still talking shit. He's still talking trash here in this chapter. Granted, I told everyone, I said, doesn't make sense, and I can't wait for Hawk to go all, I'm gonna murder you eyes and destroy this man with minimal effort, right? And, of course, I'm not going to sit back and pretend that being proven right feels pretty good. I'm arrogant enough to lean back and say, yeah. It's good. It's good to be sitting on the throne of righteousness, right? But I didn't expect the double whammy. That's what's so great. Is that, yeah, I expected this man to talk his talk and talk his smack, and there were some people in the community who thought the Chagol was gonna be something to write home about. And I was sitting, nah. The moment he knows that this man touched his Yona, ooh, baby. There aren't enough battalions this man could summon in a fortnight that is gonna stand between him and Hawk's goddamn blade. So, yeah, I knew that this was gonna go down. What I didn't expect, and what I love, is that this man sits there. What's wrong? This all you got? Yada yada yada. We get not just a double whammy moment, a triple whammy moment that I did not expect, and I absolutely adore. Not only is Hawk like, yeah, all right, crack, all right. So, Princess, this is looking a little dire. I mean, I'm Hawk, so I know I'm gonna kick this guy's ass, but there's still a slight chance of danger, so I want you to leave and stuff like that. Don't worry about it. I'm going to take out all these this fodder battalion he has summoned, plus I'm taking out this bald-ass son of a bitch. You know, he's just jealous of your red hair. That's the only reason he's so keen on you, right? I mean, bald people are always jealous of people with a full head of hair. It is what it is. I get made fun of for wearing a hat all the time because I've got a full head of hair. It's like, why are you covering your hair? You know, so I get it. Bald friends don't like it, you know, they just don't. They're jealous of it. And here we go. Hawk, take Main Yan, run to the Kokka troops, leave the enemy to me, all this stuff. And then we get a true Yona moment. And I don't know if it was intentional, I don't think it was, but the fact that we were made to doubt Yona's character development in the beginning of this arc, the previous arc, I don't know when the arcs start and end, to be honest with you. This one seems to sort of just evolve rather than stop and start, but Yona's back to, of course, her old self, the one that we fell in love with, and here we've got Yona just back to back with Hawk. Hawk, it's a request, but also a statement. It's a, I'm not gonna run away, let me stay and fight, because I'm gonna fight regardless, but I'd like it if you were okay with it, sort of idea. It's a command, it's a statement, but it's also a request. All formulated perfectly. It doesn't take away from Hawk's protective nature. It doesn't take away from Hawk's, his masculinity, anything like that. This is how healthy communication in a relationship is meant to go down. You're not meant to belittle someone. You don't attack someone when you disagree with them. You try your best to understand it from their perspective, and then you stand your ground. You don't insult the one that they're standing on. That's how things fall apart in every type of discussion, any type of relationship. Doesn't need to be romantic, but that's how things break down. Yona stood there and didn't argue and say, Hawk, I'm not some princess that you need to protect. I'm not a flower that's wilting. I'm not this, I'm not that. She didn't argue Hawk's need to protect her. She accepts and understands that. Then she says, and she doesn't use the term however, but she basically says, however, I'm going to stay and fight. I hope you will respect that and let me stay here. And it's not let in a permission way. The words worked out so well in this one, you know? Like, I'm over-analyzing it to shit here, but this is beautiful, healthy communication. It is, if there wasn't for another moment coming later in this chapter, this would be my favorite moment of the chapter, because it's healthy communication in any type of relationship. In any type of relationship. Yona is being understanding. She's being cooperative, but at the same time, she's also not only respecting and cooperating, but she's also standing her ground and standing up for herself. Without, and here's the problem, without being aggressive or passive aggressive, sometimes worse, or being insulting. And these are the things. It could have easily turned around. I'm not insinuating that this is the only way this ever happens, but both men and women and everything in between tend to do that. They tend to, when they think someone's being condescending to them in any way, even if they're not being, they take it as a personal attack and they lash out. And that's where it breaks down. Yona didn't take it as an insult. She didn't take it as an insult to her abilities to be able to fight. She didn't take it as an insult to that Hawk thought that she couldn't handle herself. She took it as, Hawk loves me and is worried about me. Took that in stride, agreed with it, acknowledged it, but then said, however, I appreciate that, but I'm staying here. And made her own choice. It's beautiful. It's beautiful from both a romantic standpoint, from a relationship standpoint, from just healthy communication standpoint. Man, no wonder this series is so great. Here's to Yona. Because Hawk didn't do much in this conversation, in all honesty. The communication is all 100% on Yona's side for being above and beyond. Just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic there. So, Hawk, once again, I should give a little bit of credit to Hawk, because Hawk does not fight this. Once again, a lot of men and women in this situation would then fight against, like, no, you still have to leave, blah, blah, blah. Instead says, you know what? Fine. Like, there's no sense in arguing with you. All right, well, then stay close to me so I can at least do my job, sort of idea. Like, that's his motif, you know? He's like, well, no changing her mind. Might as well get used to it, sort of idea. Accepts that she's going to be there rather than argue at the point. Just accepts the point and moves on. Very, very, very good between the two of them. And they both have the same thought of, I won't let you die. There's a nice parallel there. It's fantastic. Then, I don't know which moment is better. I think I know, but where I didn't know what was happening either. The next page. Hawk shocked. Yona shocked. Chao looking mad. And then we see an anime would do this so perfectly. I don't know why there's not. There doesn't appear to be any kanji. There should have been, I feel like there should have been a kanji of, you know, a screech, because Golfen is in the air. So I feel like there's a missed opportunity here for anybody. There could have just been the screech, and then we see, and then because Chago looks up, and there he is. The one that they trained, the one, soo-won. What did I say? See, here once again is me sitting back, laying back on my throne of righteousness over here, being a prick. Because I said soo-won would show up. I said because of the monologue, it fit his narrative and character to show up and say, fuck the rules, fuck the risk. I've realized I can't live without Yona and Hawk anymore. And he would go. Now, granted, this was all sort of set up planned, but the fact that he showed up, I'm taking half a W with that one, guys. I'm taking half a W because I said soo-won would show up to save Yona. And, well, I'm just saying, Hawk Tribe, Fire Tribe, everyone's showing up, everyone's duking it out and stuff. And then just in time, they thought about it. This was part of the plan. Yona discusses with soo-won previously, saying that they would be able to hide amongst the whole idea that they thought it was basically a diversion within a diversion. It still hid the troops, but then they realized it was only the first step of a double diversion. It's a double deception. It worked out fantastic. And then everyone's reuniting. Val finds Mei Nian. There's a cute little scene there where Mei Nian says, like, I'll marry you, yada, yada, yada. He's like, don't get ahead of yourself, man. But I do like Val. Val's like, grabs her face like, I'm angry, you understand that? I'm very angry, you understand that? You know, sort of idea. So I like, Val is slightly different from Hawk in this, but I still think Hawk would do the same thing. That's the annoying part, is that Val and Mei Nian might be more enjoyable characters if they weren't so obviously very Hawk and Yona personality-wise. Then it might be a little more endearing. But either way, it's still a nice scene. Cha-Gol is, of course, beside himself, just going, what the hell is going on? And then So You Came. Goldfin comes down, and boom, there's soo-won at the head of the army. They talk. Soo-won's talking shit, and he's just like, I came because you said you were going to execute, basically, Yona. And you requested my presence. So, yeah. And then he's talking shit, and this is what I love about soo-won. He's talking shit. You said you were going to execute Yona. Yep, yep. And you requested my presence. Yeah, yeah. So I showed up, but dearie me, by the looks of it, looks more like your execution, doesn't it? Like, he's just talking shit. And this is why we love soo-won, because he's got no time for this fucking brat who thinks he's some top shit thunder beast. That's when, alright, so Cha-Gol, this is why I think this is the best moment of the chapter. If it wasn't for, like, I think that the healthy relationship talk that Yona got with Hawk in the middle of the chapter was fantastic. 10 out of 10. But this, we've been waiting for this for so long. For so long. And we knew it was going to come. And here it is. Cha-Gol decides he can take the head of soo-won and decides to strike, thinking he's like, well, I'm still top shit. I can still attack him. Is like, a brat like you can't hold the reins of this country. He decides to attack, and he goes after soo-won's head. And who protects him? Who is it? The Thunder Beast. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is what's so good. The Thunder Beast himself comes in, and what did I say he would do? What did I say he was going to do? That Cha-Gol was shit, he was nothing compared to Hawk, and Hawk was going to absolutely destroy this man. He didn't even need to know that this man slapped his woman around. You know? He didn't even need to know that. That's his princess. Had he seen that happen, I mean, you saw what happened with the dragons. Even Zeno was like, yeah, try that again. We will summon our dragon spirits and we will absolutely decimate you like we did in the Zen Kingdom. Like, piss off. Dude, don't touch her. And Hawk didn't even see that shit, and I went, yeah, if he even thinks for a moment. Because I always felt that Cha-Gol was going to mention, is like, yeah, well, you know, when I smacked her or mentioned something about that, I thought we were going to get the Hawk death look and he was going to do this. This is actually so much better because we know Hawk would do that for Yona. 100%. We've seen it time and time again. This time, he protected soo-won on reflex, on purpose. It wasn't for Yona. It wasn't for the dragons. It wasn't for himself. This man was directly attacking soo-won, and Hawk stood in the way. Oh, I'm getting all tingly. Yeah, let's go. Because even, like, Cha-Gol, alright, so he just got fucked up. And Hawk doesn't even want to look at soo-won. We don't even get to see the expression on his face because he knows what he did. He's not very happy about it. Soo-won is beside himself. He's shocked in no less than 2 panels. Just completely shocked. Not that Chagol attacked him, but that Hawk saved him. That Hawk defended him. That's what I'm hoping this means is now that they've gotten aware, maybe Hawk will finally be in the tent. Maybe Hawk and soo-won will finally get that. Everybody clear out. Your Highness, I don't think I want to talk to the Thunder Beast of Coca Kingdom alone. And we're finally gonna get the conversation. That's gotta be the most hyped thing in all of Yona. Is, can we get soo-won and Hawk sitting down and having an honest talk? We've been waiting for literal years. And I'm patient. I've been a One Piece fan since chapter 1. So I'm a patient fucking man. But I'm just saying that, like, yeah. Either way, I think that was the best part of the chapter because it implies so much. If not that, it's clearly the Yona's speech, miniature speech to Hawk about, yeah, I'm not leaving. I'm going to stay and fight with you. That was 10 out of 10, obviously, for all the reasons I already listed. Rairan, all of a sudden, of all people, shows up to save Chagol. They claim even that he shouldn't last long with a wound that Hawk just gave him. He already had a wound from Yona, and then Hawk just fucking butchered him. Chagol's apparently gonna die. Please, for the love of God, don't make that goblet do its thing. I think Chagol should just die right here. Or be at last wit's end or something like that. Either way, retreating, all that stuff. This is where Kija says that they're going to be taking, the dragons are still on their way to the Phoenix Palace, but then Kija says, don't worry about it. So finally, this man had a little bit of a use, though with Princess Yona's help, of course, said, we sabotaged all the carriages leading towards the Phoenix Palace. Any carriage going there is going to break down halfway through. We should be able to catch up in no time. Don't worry about it. And if Ryan took Chagol away, then he's not going to be part of the carriage. I think they're going to easily rescue, because I don't think, what I don't think is going to happen, and I was worried about this, is that on top of rescuing, because one thing some manga do, and it's very improper, is they jump from rescue arc to rescue arc to rescue arc. That's a bit of an issue. I think this is going to be very short-lived, and I'm going to appreciate that. I think we deserve some downtime finally, especially with Hawk. Like, there's a lot of character development that's happened right now. I really do think we have time to go get the dragons, go back to camp, and have a breather. I think that's the case. I don't think the dragons are going to make it all the way to the Phoenix Palace. I don't think that, because then that would mean, okay, so we rescued Main Yen, but then we lost 3 more. So it's not a success. It's a failure of a rescue arc, and then, oh brother, here we go again. And then it's going to be another operation to go rescue the dragons this time. But doing the same thing again right after does not work for storytelling perspective. You do the next thing. You can have multiple rescue arcs. Like, Liz, rescuing the Lily arc was one of my favorite parts of Yona. That was great, rescuing Lily and stuff from the fort when, you know, it was Gwen Tai and Mundok and the Happy Hungry Bunch and everybody was involved, right? That was really good arc. And that doesn't take away from this arc because that happened so long ago. But if you're constantly doing, okay, this person got captured, gotta go rescue them. Then, oh, well, halfway through that arc, these people got captured. So we rescued the initial person, but now these people got captured in the attempt to rescue them. So now we gotta go rescue those people. And if you just kept that cycle, story would get very lame, very boring, very quickly. So I don't think this is going to be a true another rescue arc. We're on chapter 240, right? So I predict that we'll see the dragons again in the next like 5-6 chapters. Easy, rescued, and released. Pretty easy in the next, within half a dozen chapters, no problem, no problem. Especially since at the end of this chapter they said carriage is going to break down halfway through. Zeno and them will take advantage of that, you know, and who's really guarding them? You know, they've already, Chagol's in no shape, the generals are down, half the Dromos apparently are shit, power scaling be damned, because the Elder Stars took them the hell out, the Stars of the Zin Kingdom, so I think we got a pretty good shot here of getting the dragons. So I'll be glad to see the back tail of this arc. I think it had really good highs, some lows. Some things were stretched out too long, but I'll be happy when this part is over and then we regroup and sort of start the next stage of this war. I don't think the war is going to end or anything like that, and I don't think Child Girl's necessarily completely out of the game, but I think that it's time to sort of close the book once we get the dragons back, then return beyond the border back to Coca Kingdom, then we close the chapter on this and move on to the next arc. That's what I'm hoping for, because I think we've done everything we can with this part of the arc. So yeah, but that's my review for chapter 240. What did you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section down below. I know it was a long review, but there was a lot to discuss, a lot to talk about, and I apologize once again. Long Easter weekend, you know, there was relaxing, there was good drink, good fun, and sometimes there was just plain old procrastination and laziness that prevented me from doing the review. Of course, I did read the chapter when it came out, and I kept intending to come down here and do the review, but every time I intended to, things just happened. And Martin News' thing, some will be reasons, others excuses, but at the end of the day, at least it's out now for all your viewing pleasure. I hope the review still does well, regardless of its tardiness. So, thank you guys very much for watching, though. Like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts on this chapter. I thought there was a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss. So definitely let me know. And if you think I'm wrong about certain things, or there's different options or avenues, like the story could take from here, you don't agree with my assessment of the Yona conversation, or how soo-won was protected, or any of these things, let me know down in the comment section down below, and I'd be more than interested to see what you guys think about it. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you back here next time. Drink responsibly as always. Sayonara.